You're listening to the Retro Mo Podcast. I'm your host, Mo, and I love to play and review old video games and a few new games too. If you prefer to read instead of listen, check out my written reviews at retromo.substack.com. In this episode, I'll be sharing my experience with WarCraft 3 for the PC, released in 2002. I've scored this game 9 out of 10, an amazing game, an essential RTS classic that still makes for a great LAN party today. While StarCraft will doubtlessly be remembered in gaming history as Blizzard's most important RTS, WarCraft 3 still had its time in the spotlight. And no, I don't mean the widely panned Reforged update. I still favor the original WarCraft 3, which is very playable today if you still have your old license keys. Initially, after playing a lot of StarCraft, WarCraft 3 took some getting used to. StarCraft has been considered by many RTS fans to be a near-perfect RTS game. WarCraft 3 makes some bold changes to the StarCraft formula by adding high-impact, experience-based hero units and by reducing the total amount of units you control. The units are tougher, with higher HP values and higher costs, so unit loss carries more weight. While these changes take some getting used to, WarCraft 3 is still a very well-balanced RTS. Each of the 4 playable races have their own strengths, weaknesses, and styles. The humans, orcs, night elves, and the undead. I've never been much of a competitive RTS player. I get absolutely wrecked by the sweats online, but I really enjoy the Blizzard RTS single-player campaigns. They are well crafted and not so brutally punishing for mere RTS casuals like me. The standard base building missions are always fun and often include some kind of unique gameplay twist or challenge. It's incredibly satisfying building up your base and your units, slowly taking over the map one skirmish at a time. The final missions of each campaign are fantastic. Reign of Chaos's Twilight of the Gods, and The Frozen Throne's A Symphony of Frost and Flame. I remember the first time playing these final missions, lying awake at night trying to figure out why I kept losing on normal mode. Remember, RTS casual here. I still vividly remember the immense satisfaction of finally mastering control groups, rally points, the optimal timing for Malfurion and Tyranda's ultimate abilities, the right build order, etc. For my most recent playthrough, these strategies came back quickly and I didn't struggle as much as I did years ago. One of the joys of these RTS campaigns is realizing that there is an optimal strategy. I just need to discover it and then execute. It's fascinating seeing precursors of the MOBA genre baked into WarCraft 3's campaigns. The once massively popular MOBA genre has since stagnated a bit, but its roots are evident here. The Kael'thas mission, The Search for Illidan, features one narrow lane with units on each end, automatically spawning and marching towards their enemy's base. The final quest of the Frozen Throne's bonus campaign features 3 lanes with units automatically spawning and marching towards the enemy. It also adds a series of very tough towers that need to be destroyed in order to allow your, quote, minions to pass through. It's remarkable how similar this is to League of Legends' standard Summoner's Rift map. Of course, it all started with a StarCraft custom map called Aeon of Strife. This was further refined by the WarCraft 3 mod called Defense of the Ancients. League of Legends purposefully snatched up the remaining Dota fan base as it became increasingly difficult to get a copy of the out-of-print WarCraft 3. While I do get full enjoyment out of the standard base building missions, I've never been a fan of the no-build missions. You're given a predetermined group of units that you must guide through a maze-like gauntlet of enemies. These missions strip out the primary fun of RTS games, which is the building strategy. The no-build missions feel more like a less fun version of Diablo 2. Almost the entirety of the bonus campaign, Founding of Durotar, has no base building, and I found it to be a bit dull and repetitive. I actually used cheat codes to rush through most of it to get to the end. However, the final portion of the bonus campaign, The Last Admiral, is really great, so I'm glad I pushed through. The in-game visuals of WarCraft 3, though adequate for 2002, paled in comparison to what we saw from Final Fantasy X just a year earlier. Today, you'll either find the chunky 3D models of WarCraft 3 to be charming or just laughable. The way the lips flap wildly in the character thumbnails still cracks me up. In spite of the clunky, low-poly models, the environments and characters are thoughtfully designed. I don't find the aged visuals to be too distracting from the game's other strengths. Blizzard's cinematics, on the other hand, were back then and still are some of the best in the industry. These amazing cinematics still hold up today, over 2 decades later. I love WarCraft lore, and the story in WarCraft 3 is responsible for much of today's WarCraft universe lore. While a few details from WarCraft 3 have been retconned in World of Warcraft or in the official books, so many memorable heroes and villains are introduced right here in WarCraft 3. The great story is what motivates some non-RTS fans to play through the entire campaign. The few times I've been tempted to deep dive into World of Warcraft were simply out of a desire to see more of these characters from WarCraft 3. The soundtrack is also excellent. There are so many great tracks that paint the scene perfectly, and some of the epic themes in WarCraft 3 were reworked into the World of Warcraft soundtrack. Overall, this is a must-play for RTS fans, but even those unfamiliar with RTS games may still find themselves enjoying the WarCraft 3 experience. Thanks for listening to the Retro Mo podcast. As always, I do my best to keep all of my content spoiler-free and rated E for everyone. If you find this podcast enjoyable or helpful, tell a friend and consider giving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. If you have questions or comments, you can send an email to retromopodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Godspeed.